Well, first of all, Lisa, thank you for hopping on. I know you got a lot going on, super busy right now, but thank you for reaching out. I want to use my platform to help any way I can. Obviously, I've sort of seen what's going on social media a little bit, but for people who don't know, your parents lost their family home, you lost your family home. Can you talk a little bit about sort of that day? Because I know speaking to other people, it escalated very quickly, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me, sharing my story, and hopefully together we can make an impact. Um, it was it was actually the first day that I took off work. I work through the holiday season, so I turned off my phone and went to the beach, did some breath work, and I had to check something really quickly for work. So when I came back home, I turned on my phone to check something, and then literally my phone was blowing up and the fire was happening, and it all happened very quickly. I was met with I talked to my brother, and he told me that our high school was on fire, Pally High. And you quickly go to Twitter, Google anything to see what's actually happening, and it just looked like the apocalypse. I was trying to keep positive thoughts. It was like, oh, our house might burn down, and I'm like, oh no, let's not put that out there. Everything's gonna be okay. I woke up the next morning with a million missed calls from my mom, and she just walked me through the facts. A really nice fireman at their hotel went to go check on the house address, and reported that our house burned down. My mom told me I was in absolute shock. I was just kind of numb and quiet. A few things went through my mind, and then I thought a few houses burned down because I wasn't glued to my television. I went to bed. And so in my mind, I thought a few houses burned down. When I got off the phone with my mom, I looked online, and she also said all of the Palisades from Chautauqua to beyond our house was burned down. And it just, shock went through my body, numbness went through my body, like horror went through my body. And then you just start to process it. I broke down crying, and here we are today.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. Everyone I spoke to, it was like, they knew the fires were happening, but they didn't know how quickly it was spreading, that it would get to their own homes. And then, yeah, like you spoke about, it's not just homes, it's high schools, it's businesses, it's the whole town. And, did your family have any time to grab anything before?
We lost
Yeah.
everything.
Wow.
So that was another layer to digest guilt from not being able to save anything or to do anything, guilt for not being able to do anything differently, sadness of all the things that were just lost in a moment, and grief that just set in for the entire community. Families that I grew up next door, families that I grew up with, everyone for the most part that I knew and know in that village has lost their home.
Wow. What do you like? Again, I hope this doesn't come off insensitive, but when this happens, like, what is the next step? Do you feel support? Are people helping you, saying, hey, this is what you do next? You got to go find a home. Like, what are the next steps? And was there anyone there sort of helping guide your family in those next steps?
Well, it all just happened so quickly, and there's a lot of like, what do we do?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
in the mass wildfire that it was and still is, Los Angeles firefighters and people from all around the country in different states and everything are flying people in that are still fighting the active fires right now. They are absolutely amazing, but the outpouring of love was overwhelming from before things burned down to up until this day. The community is surrounding everyone by like love overflowing and support overflowing from food, donation, meals. Right now, I am doing spearheading with my company a food drive to feed displaced firefighters or displaced families and firefighters. So the days following it were just jumbled, and people figuring out how to deal with this mass wildfire. And then an outpouring amount of resources that were easily accessed via social media started popping up. People started helping, and the community started coming together.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. Obviously, I'm in New York. I think it's very different when you live in LA. You're from LA. You're probably watching local news as well. So this is very much in the news. What makes me sad is a lot of times things like this happen, and then sort of you stop hearing about it, but those people are still suffering. Um, what sort of things, like obviously money donations, food donations, reaching out to your friends who live in Los Angeles. What else could we be doing? Especially, people who maybe don't live in LA, don't sort of understand the severity. What's the easiest way to help in this situation, or
Yeah,
best way?
that's amazing. I appreciate you asking. Help has been offered since the beginning, and myself, my family, and so many people surrounding us in the same situation have the like-minded feeling of like, we don't know what help we need right now, but we know that
Okay.
there is help. When we need it, we can call someone. That's what I did today with my community with this food drive. It's been a labor of love, and it all matters. So, people
Mhm.
from around the world are donating money that is going directly to buying nutritious supplies from Whole Foods, organic, grass-fed meats, comfort food, produce has been donated from my local farmers market. I've been going one by one. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm one person. And this project has probably been a compilation of 100 different people involved. And some people are like, I wish I could do more, give more. Those small things create this bigger puzzle of being able to feed families in need, feed displaced firefighters and first responders. And it's really important to know that this is a marathon and not a sprint. The first
Uh,
2 weeks, everyone was all hands on deck. We're the third week out, and people still need stuff. It's going to take years to rebuild. It is going to be building blocks of how people need the community to keep supporting and keep reaching out and keep donating and keep working on projects that directly rebuild our community. I am doing this project for immediate wildfire relief, and then I also have a GoFundMe for longer term projects when things are being rebuilt. So I would suggest people to look up organizations that are meaningful to them, that align with them, and to find projects that are doing the hands-on work, and that where your money is going to if you are donating, and just to show up, because those extra set of hands matter.
yeah, I think that's such a good point. It's like the 2 weeks after, I know, people rally, but then this is going to be a long process. And so it's important to sort of keep this in your thoughts. It's not something that's going to go away right away. And I'll certainly include links, with the podcast in this podcast. You were on a TV show, and that's sort of where, people know you. And same thing with the podcast. This is the Big Brother community, the reality TV community. I've certainly seen people step up. Have some of your cast members been involved with this?
Yeah, there's been some support from the BB26 cast. The outpouring of their love and support has been awesome to help make an impact. Leah has shown up since day one, has reposted, has shared, has seen how she can get involved. MJ has donated. T-Core has donated. People are posting and resharing. Joseph and Quinn are, supporting within their platform. Kenny just posted something really sweet, and everyone is showing up in the ways they can. They're not only checking on you, they're sharing their platform, they're sharing their reach, they're sharing their love. And to see the BB26 community come together to not just support me as a survivor of the wildfire in the Palisades, but also to impact LA with this project that I'm working on.
Yes, that's amazing. I know I watched your interview with Julie, which anyone who didn't watch should go watch it. You did mention obviously there's a couple people that you weren't super close with on the cast. If someone, and it gets kind of awkward sometimes if someone isn't your best friend on a TV show. But if one of those cast members reached out and say, you know what, like this might be weird, we're not friends, but I want to help, I want to see what I can do, I want to show support. Would you be open to that? Is that something that like might bridge some gaps or bridge some broken relationships?
I'm always open to support and love if it comes from an intentional
Of
place.
course.
I think what's fueled behind people reaching out can affect what that support really means. But again, this is not about me. This is about the wildfires, the people that are impacted in LA, and what I can do with my community for them.
Is there like something that's the biggest need right now? Or like you said, it's sort of all over in terms of food, clothing, anything that's specific? I know there was a lot of people were saying in the immediate aftermath, there was great donations, but at the same time, people were sort of dumping a lot of stuff that was unneeded. And so I'm just sort of trying to understand like what sort of donations would be helpful and if there's any way to get involved in sort of what you're doing.
Yeah. So right now, I've heard that people have enough donations of clothes. And what I'm
Okay.
seeing with my family as well is people are figuring out their next steps of where they are living, where they are going, not just being temporarily displaced in a hotel or in a friend's house, right? People are looking for their next permanent but temporary living solution until they figure out if they want to rebuild, move, and where their next physical home is going to be. So while that's happening, people have the immediate, their clothes, their necessities, hygiene products, toiletries, etc. But the next step is people have been like, we have enough clothes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
People
Okay.
are getting their technologies, their phones, their computers if they were lost. The food matters. That's why I'm doing warm home cooked meals from my company, Plates by Lisa, and going to the people, not having them always come to me. A lot of times
Mm,
now in the moments, it is, I know for me, it is sometimes exhausting to do the little things. And you don't have the brain capacity to even think about your next meal. So I wanted to offer that nourishment. In the days to come, in the road to come, I think people are just figuring it out and taking it step by step and day by day.
yeah, I'm sure there will be more needs as, people think about their next steps, whether it's rebuilding, whether it's, I'm sure there's a lot of legal issues that are going to arise that it will be very expensive as well. And so, yeah, anything that people can do to help. Um, in terms of for you, like, how is this sort of derailed? I mean, after Big Brother, I know you were focused on your cooking career. This is sort of what you're focused on now. Yeah, what is your focus on, I guess, in terms of your career? Like Plates by Lisa, what can you tell
Yeah.
us about that?
So Plates by Lisa is my catering company that I built from the ground up over 10 years ago. I do farm to table cooking, and a lot of my clients actually have lost their homes in the fire. Clients in Malibu,
Horrible.
clients the Palisades. Right now, in the immediate, I am focusing on my own grief and getting through that, my family and supporting them, and then the community at large that's affected and making as much of a difference as I can. As far as my catering company, I think with the wildfires, it shifted a lot, and that there's going to be a lot to rebuild. It might be, I think people are going to use their money differently this year. While there's a
Mm,
lot of unaffected areas in Los Angeles, I think that the economy is going to be changing in how people allocate their money, their funds, how people celebrate. So, I mean, my company will always be here, but it's definitely affected it. There haven't been any bookings in Los Angeles because of the wildfires. I know a lot of small businesses that have donated, like Bargain Fair Los Angeles. They're a restaurant supply store. It was their slowest month. And it's not just the people that lost their home. This fire has a trickle down effect. It is the people that work with the families that live in the Palisades. It is Cafe Vita, our restaurant that I went to in elementary school, that all of the people that work there that are family in that town, they've lost their jobs. It is people that are employed at all the different stores throughout and all of the small businesses, which was really what the Palisades was all about. So it's a long road ahead for all of us. I think, at least for me, I'm open to new opportunities. I would love to go on another TV show and compete. I would love to take my story and create more impact as we rebuild and share my story, share my platform, to make a bigger difference in the world. So it's really interesting how it unfolds. And there's a lot of things that have been lost in this fire, but as a phoenix from the ashes, it can
literally
rebuild. And I kind of feel like that's going to happen as we transform into this new stage.
Yeah. And Lisa, obviously you're doing amazing work, but like you also are a victim in this. And I'm just curious, like, how are you taking care of yourself as well?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. I appreciate the check-in. I am taking care of myself. I think this project, this wildfire relief food drive project that I started, I really wanted to transform my grief into good. I am taking care of myself. I think being on site and seeing the community come together and the endless, I was walking yesterday at the farm stands, and every farm stand that I went to, and people just gave me crates of food. These are my community that I've shopped at for 10 years for my business, that my mom shopped at for her life. This is her world. This is our world. People know us. And the abundance that people are willing to give, the love and support, the hugs, strangers on the street that overheard me asking the farmers for stuff, gave me cash. And to see this and be a part of it, I have the chills, is so healing. And it's also very difficult and painful. So I'm just keeping moving as I'm grieving. I'm going to do the food drive for a few days and then support my family, take care of myself, because that's equally as important, to take care of my mental, physical, spiritual health as I grieve as well. So it's finding a balance right now. But this week I am feeding people.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you for taking the time to chat with me. I'm hoping people watch this, and if you haven't helped, and even if you can't help monetarily, being supportive to people that are out there still fighting these fires and dealing with the aftermath. Anything else, Lisa, that you want us to know, or anything, any resources, anything you want to share before I let you go do your thing?
I appreciate it. If anyone wants to be involved in the project, you can follow Plates by Lisa, my company, or Dolce de Lisa, my personal story, and follow that and share that. I have GoFundMe pages, and know that if you are donating there, that money is going directly to projects to rebuild the community in immediate and in the future. I will keep everyone updated on my story, and hopefully it helps other people in the same situation going through this, and that I can continue to be a resource by just sharing. And be kind to people. Stop honking on the road. You don't know what someone is going through. People were honking on the road to me today, and I'm driving a van full of hundreds of pounds of food to feed people. So be patient, be kind, be loving, show up for the people that you love. Don't sweat the small stuff, drop the trivial stuff, and just be good human beings, because the world needs more of that on a daily basis, whether there's a wildfire or not.
So true. Well, thank you, Lisa. That was perfect way to end. And I'm sending thoughts and prayers to your family. And please let me know personally if there's anything else I can do for you, because I appreciate you doing this. So.